Ben Jacobson Photo here with a really quick lens review for the Sony NEX system. I have a friend has been nice enough to loan me his Sony NEX 5R for another EVIL/compact system camera CSC review I'm working on. Between that, Micro Four Thirds, and the X100. And the big reason, let me just show you right off the bat, he has a 24-1.8, so he loaned me that with this body so I could compare them. Sweet lens, sweet camera, few issues for me. That's not in this review. Check out that other review. But while he sent it, he wanted me to check out his rokinon. What is this, an 8mm? I believe it's an 8mm, whatever. Well, I'll post it in the, here, it's on the front. 8mm, 2.8 fisheye lens. That's his fisheye. I have a 16mm lens, he does not. So with the 16, you can get a fisheye adapter. So there's the 16, there's the fisheye adapter, there's the dedicated rokinon 8mm. Now, when you pair my lens with my adapter, put it next to the rokinon, slightly bigger, just slightly. So if you were just going to carry them in a bag, this is wider. It's slightly smaller in diameter. Not much really, but slightly. And slightly smaller. They both are pretty hefty lenses. They weigh a little bit more than you might think. So if you're going to carry them independent of the camera, it'd be a tough call. I believe the rokinon is also cheaper than this pair. So if you don't have the 16, I would probably go with this. Like I said, it's also wider. But this auto focuses and auto exposes, meaning it can control the aperture. This is complete manual. With the peaking on the Sony system, it's not a huge deal to have to manually focus, especially not a lens that's 8mm wide. But it's just something you have to do. So now let's look at the image width you get with this. So we will take a picture aimed, let's see here, right at the chair, and now I want to try to do this as without moving it forward. So we're going to pop that off, we're going to stick this on, rock it forward. Hopefully that's about the same. Now you can see it's got the red peaking is everywhere. So now let's look at these two pictures, and we're going to bring them up large so you can see them. It's still right at the memory card. So you can see rokinon's image there, and the Sony's there. Not nearly as wide, quite a bit cooler too. Excuse me. Rokinon, Sony, rock, Sony, rock, Sony. The windows are washed out on both. Rock maybe a little bit more. Exposure on this one seems good for both. If anything, the rock's a little hot. Sony's maybe a little cool in terms of exposure, as well as white balance. As I've been shooting both, the Sony seems to expose better. So take that for what it's worth. If I were to choose between the two myself, I would get the 16 with the fisheye converter. It's worth giving up a little bit of width to have this 16mm 2.8 lens and autofocus and auto aperture. If you don't own the 16, I would look at the rock, but I think I might still buy these in combination over that. The one thing I will say though is I don't know what it is with all these other guys, but this lens cap's terrible. I mean, it works, but it pops off pretty easy. You put it in and out of your bag, 9 times out of 10 it comes out without the cap on it, out of your bag, okay? Now, if you look at rocks, Rokinon, Samyang, Bauer, whoever you want to call them, they have little grooves on the inside of their hoods on their fisheyes and wide-angle lenses, including the 14. Their cap has little finger indentations that you push on, and it hooks into those loops, and this stays on. It works really, really well. I don't know why Canon and Nikon and anybody else, they can't figure it out. Don't know why. But yeah, in short, they're both built pretty well. The Sony actually comes with a really nice little case that it's in a desk drawer someplace I never use. This lens cap's terrible, I'll say that. But in terms of value, this is like $100 and something if you own that lens. I like this option better because it autofocuses. I actually like this enough. I've never sold my NEX 5 just to keep this fisheye. It's cheaper than buying a dedicated fisheye for any other lens or for any other camera I own. So yeah, in short, I prefer this just for convenience reasons. They're both fantastic lenses. This is wider, a little more fun, better lens cap. But in terms of ease of use, the Sony works a little better just because it's got autofocus. So yeah, for me, Sony wins. Rock's a great option. Hopefully that helps showing you the differences next to each other on a table. So yeah, Ben Jacobson Photo with another lens review for you. Hopefully it helps you make the decision between the Rokinon 8mm fisheye and the Sony, what is this, VCL-ECF1 with the 16mm 2.8 lens. What a name, Sony. It's the fisheye converter though. So thank you for watching, and hopefully that helps.